We're here live, ripping from the studio, early morning, 9 a.m. here on the Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. We're coming to you with a live show, getting into all the nitty-gritty about the games last night, and the sky is falling for numerous fan bases.
Correct, but it's not falling here because we have microphone arms. We have microphone arms in the new studio.
That is big. Every single day, the bar studio gets a little bit better, much to our producer Edge's pleasure.
Deep pleasure.
Things are looking up.
I can't wait. We're going to pimp out the back wall. I can't wait.
It's great. I still like our old studio.
Yeah, well, we pod there.
But I love this one too.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we have a crazy live show to get into. Shit is out of control. We've got 4 games.
Yep.
4 games to talk about.
4 game 5s.
4 game 5s to talk about. And last night, I think I would be willing to say last night might have been the craziest day so far. This round 1 has been absolutely fucking bananas. So much shit going on. Fan bases are starting to get really nasty, really gross, really mean, saying some hateful stuff. We've got some death threats sent to us, to some players, which I think is so funny. We haven't I don't know what fan base feels like we've been rude enough, but and an Oilers fan saw that we went to a Kings game and went ahead and looked up our mom's name and sent us a death threat and a death threat to her.
Yeah.
So appreciate that, Oilers Nation.
That was gas.
We decided to show you guys some love, and then one of your own went to the trouble to look up our mother's name and threaten her life. So great stuff.
And I don't even understand for what totally.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. I was like, what? But let's get into it. We're going to rip right into the Devils Canes.
Yep.
First and foremost, first on the list, Devils Canes. We've got our first elimination of the playoffs.
Yes. An elimination I predicted we saw coming, but not the way that game went, obviously. No. And dude, I was dying laughing because I had another bet cooking last night, which also lost. But in the moment, part of it was Canes money line. And the only other time I took Canes money line this whole series, even though I knew the Canes were going to nearly sweep, the only other time I took Canes money line is when they lost in double OT.
Yeah.
Every other game they've won. And then last night I have Canes money line as part of a parlay, and it just goes to double OT. And I'm like, hilarious. 2 Canes double OT losses incoming the one time I need them to win.
Yeah.
But this one they pulled out and ended the series.
It was a crazy game too. So we're going to get into it. We're going to discuss everything, but 3-0 right out the jump.
Yep.
And yeah, it's hilarious when we make a bet and we're just like, well, we're fucking idiots.
And dude, even on Hold the Phone, I was like, because Freddie Iceberg not playing, but I was like, Kachekhov's been good though. You know, like he played pretty well in game 4 when he came in. He'll shut the door. He had pretty good regular season. He'll shut the door in game 5. And then there's 3 goals in like 6 shots. And I was like, well,
absolutely insane. So do you think, one of the things that I said right off the bat, I said that this series was going to be over in 5. Yep. So I'm 1 for 1. I'm about to be 1 for 8.
Yeah.
So
how are you?
We'll get into that. But this series kind of went exactly how we thought it would.
Agree.
And that's interesting.
I have some talking points for the game. Let's say this for the game. Brutal. If you're a Jersey fan, just a shitty collapse, right? Like up 3-0 going into the second. And I know that, I mean, honestly, the fucking special teams is why Jersey lost this series the way they did. I think they finished technically 0 for like 15 or 16 on the power play. They did get one millisecond after the whistle in this game. So like, that's kind of one, but the Canes were able to score a bunch of power play goals, including the one that won the series, even though the Devils had just as good of a PK. So that hurt them, but really bad collapse. You give up 3, then Hischier gets you one to go. You know, when you blow that huge lead, you're like, we're dead. But then you get the 4th. I'm like, now you should win. Because you're like, all right, like reset, whatever. But then the Canes end up tying it up. And then honestly, even after 3-0, let alone 4-4, even after 3-0, the Canes were all over them. Like Markstrom ended up making like either the most or second most career playoff saves he's ever made. It was like 45 or something like that.
He was unbelievable, dude. It's one of those things that, like, you give up 5 goals. So from looking at the box score, people are like, how good could you have possibly been? But he was insane.
It was insane. Dude.
They had 42 or 54 shots, and he made monster saves. That's the thing. It wasn't just like, oh, you know, they're peppering shots from the point. He's kind of just making stand-up saves. He was making wild acrobatic saves. Like you said, probably the best performance of his playoff career. And you just want that one. Like he feels like he stole a game for them. And you keep it in. All of a sudden, now you're in game 6, and you're totally in this. So he's pissed, and you saw he snaps his stick on the post.
Yeah,
showed some crazy restraint to not kill a teammate with like the second stick throw. But yeah, it's devastating, dude. It's devastating when you see a player go so hard, have such a great performance, and it isn't enough. And you know, I tweeted out something like, we have talked a lot about this series was going to be the boring series, right? People said it was going to be low scoring. It was going to be Canes in 4 or 5. Most games were low scoring, and it was Canes in 5. This game was insane. This game was fun. And I feel like a lot of people haven't been giving the Canes enough love. They haven't been showing, you know, they're a great team. And there's a lot of Devils fans, a lot of Eastern Conference fans who are like, they played a hobbled Devils team. They suck. They're going to lose in the next round. And I always hate that, because I'm like, listen, the Devils were not a wild card team. They made the playoffs, and yes, they lost key players, but ultimately the Canes did their fucking job. And they got through them in 5 games. And here we are.
Well, that's actually talking point I wanted to hit with you is how hurt is Jersey really? And the Jack loss is devastating on every level, right? But there were a few comments that you were digging up. We were talking about yesterday that were kind of like, congrats, you beat our AHL team, you know, like we're the hospital Devils, whatever. And where on the scale of 0 to 100, I was trying to come up with a wittier 0 to 100, but I couldn't get there in real time. So just 0 to 100 is how fair is that statement? You played our hospital team. We're so injured, we didn't have a chance. 100% fair is literally not a single Devils player is playing. 0% fair is every Devils player is playing. Where is it in your mind?
I'd say it's around 50 for me. And this game specifically, you know, we said something like, you need to show respect to the Canes for being down 3-0 and storming back and winning this game in a closeout game. Like, that's clutch as fuck. And I think a lot of in the moment frustrated Devils fans were like, they were playing the Utica Comets, dude. Big deal.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, it's an NHL team in the fucking playoffs, and you have a 3-goal lead. Like that's a good comeback. That's objectively a good comeback. But on the larger scale, I would say, no doubt about it, when you are down Jack Hughes, you're down Luke Hughes, Dylan was out. I think it was Kovacevic was out. Like they had a lot of injuries in this series. So I think it's absolutely worth mentioning. And considering we said when we did our preview, the second Jack was out, I mean, before the playoffs even started, the second he went out, I was like, that's that for the Devils. You are out in the first round. And that's not a knock on the Devils. You take the best player for every team. Take Connor McDavid, take Jack Eichel, take Rob Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, take Kyle Connor. I'm just throwing out random names here. And you remove them from the lineup, your team's odds of winning go down significantly. Yep. That's what it was. So I live in the 50%. It definitely played a factor. It's why we chose them in 5. And I think it's a big reason why they won in 5.
Yep. Okay. So this was one of the next talking points I wanted to get to in this series, and it's actually coming up in the chat a lot. I'll try to call some people out. Somebody says, thoughts on what I wanted to ask you was the Canes are the Cup favorites. Pretty much we're BetMGM. They're the Cup favorites on BetMGM right now. People asking about, Sal says, don't get the perpetual Canes love. And a lot of people in here are just being like, what do you guys think about the Canes' chances moving forward? What happened in this series doesn't change anything. Whatever you thought about the Canes, in personal pronoun you, not literally you, you should feel exactly the same, I think. I guess you could have gone, no, you should feel exactly the same. Like they did their job. I like their path. And I've always said that. I like their path. I think if I had them in the East, in the Atlantic, I'd have them out much sooner than I do. I really like their path. But to me, dude, I just don't see, I still don't rate this team higher than whoever's going to come out of that Atlantic side or teams in the West. Watching what they saw here, Rod's got them dialed. They look good. They were scoring power play goals. Playoff stank is here, but I'm still like, yeah, okay. You are what you have been to me still.
I feel that the narrative all the time with the Carolina Hurricanes is shit talk. It's no one's ever just being like, they're sick. Yeah. And you're doing that right now. And I'm not calling you out. I understand why you're doing it. And I feel like I almost feel bad to say that I think it has changed, because I think that whatever their chances were are worse if Anderson is hurt.
Oh yeah, God, they need Freddie badly.
I mean, like Kochetkov's a good goaltender, but you see this game, he gives up 3 right away. He shuts the door a little bit after that, but that's not good. That's not what you wanted to see for sure. So yeah, I think it's almost a little scary, frankly, if you're the Canes right now, because you're like, fuck me. I mean, do you want to talk about how hobbled this Devils team is? How much of an effect does it actually make? If it does make a huge effect with how many injuries they had, and you just squeaked by in double OT, you're fucking terrified.
Yeah.
So I think their chances are even worse. I don't think that they should be the Cup favorites. I think that's reactionary from Vegas that they went up 3-1 early. They're the first team to move on to the second round. But yeah, I think it's inaccurate, frankly, and definitely inaccurate when you consider the fact that they're potentially without their starting goaltender.
Dude, one thing I love, though, if you want to get into some Canes spin zone, is this, because Chelios was on the pod last week and said the same thing. He was like, this Canes team is exactly what they have been to me. Like they don't have quite enough to get over that final 2 humps, whatever you want to call it. But I think, and we brought this up on the Raleigh show we went on, if you want some Canes positive spin zone, it's that the narrative that you are the same, you're always what you've always been, it has never been louder, to your point. Like every time the Canes come up and people see that they're the Cup favorites, they go, the fucking Canes? Are you kidding me? They can't get past the fucking Atlantic team. They can't get past the West team. And yeah, sure, maybe they've had a no one believes in us narrative for a while. Sure, certainly the Rangers were the hot team last year, but I think the Canes fake pseudo hate has never been stronger or louder than now. And if you were going to rally around something in that locker room with the Rantanen thing and all that shit, it's this team. Mm-hmm. It's this team that goes, fuck you guys, dude. Watch us cook.
Yeah.
So I still don't have them that far, but I think they have the best chance to internalize that hatred and push it out on teams that they do this year.
Definitely. I think the big thing with the Canes, I don't know if you just saw Taylor Hall just signed a new 3-year deal with them. So he's not going anywhere. Obviously Stank is playing well. The way that they recovered from the Rantanen disaster
should be studied.
Have rallied around each other and are playing well so far. They're the first team to move on. All signs are pointing towards positives for the Carolina Hurricanes. No doubt about it. And I want to talk, I saw in the chat, someone said, how about that Slavin goal from game 4? I think I said it on the pod the other day. It was insane. I mean, the guy
he's awaited, dude. He's the one.
I have said since 4 Nations, he's the best defenseman. He's the best all-around true defenseman in the NHL. And that play, knocking down a pass, one hand tapping it around a defender, and then shelfing near side was fucking disgusting.
Who do you think you are?
He is the Allfather. That's who he is. Yeah, dude. Like he can do whatever he wants.
We'll see him in Valhalla.
But you're buzzing in all the right ways, right? Aho is going. Yep. Svech is going. Jarvy's going. This team is doing everything. I think that's where I want to. That's where I want to stop on this series. Series is over. Obviously, The Carolina Hurricanes are doing everything they need to do.
Yeah.
They're doing everything that they need to do to be successful, and they have done it. They won in 5, just like we predicted, and now we move on. Is the next series, no matter who the opponent is, going to be much different and very difficult? Absolutely. But they can at least say right now to all the haters, to you douchebag. No. You're the biggest Canes hater in the world.
I can't wait to play. I'm going to get the clip of the Raleigh thing when he's like this. I'm here with Chris, who went to school in the Triangle and is awesome, and known Canes hater Dan Powers.
Yeah, but that was a bit. I think they can look at all their haters and go, what do you want to? Like, what do you want us to do differently? Because we're doing everything right. And I think that's a huge positive for them.
And I would say, well, I guess on that, that's kind of why I said nothing has changed about my opinion. Because if this had taken 6 or 7, I would feel worse, right?
Yeah.
And if they had swept, but not even about the sweep, but if they'd won like 5-0, 5-1, 6-0, I'd be like, I'd feel better. So I expected them to come in and win in 5 and for some pretty close games, and they did. And I'm like, nothing has changed. And on the Devils, before we leave, I just want to say to Devils fans, Markstrom is everything you have ever wanted. Like, what a warrior. You brought up the stick break. I actually fucking loved that so much. Like, he came through and smashed his stick, nearly impaled several teammates, held it back, but stood on his fucking head.
Yeah.
And in the absence of Jack, I thought Nico showed a lot of guts.
I agree with that. And I feel like that was super necessary.
Yes.
He's been a little subpar per what I would say Devils fans have wanted. We got to move on to the next series, but I appreciate that tire pump from Markstrom because he deserves it
big time. What a series.
Stand-up series. Moving on to the Sens Leafs. Here we have it. The Leafs are what? It was 1-12, 1-13. I think it was 1-12 in closeout games in the playoffs. Here they are at home, chance to finish the series, move on to the next round. They don't even come close.
That's not true.
Don't even come close. 4-0 loss. But the big story here is Linus Ullmark. I said last pod, if you remember, going to pump my tires again. Legacy game incoming for Ullmark.
Yep.
I was like, if there is ever a time to show that you are not a choker in the playoffs, that you can perform under the bright lights, it's at Scotiabank when your team is facing elimination. And he played fucking lights out.
Dude, is 1000% correct, Dan. I didn't think I knew he had the ability in him. I just didn't think he had that playoff performance in him right now. Yeah. Maybe next year you get your head right, whatever. Right now, after not playing well in this series and not playing well in the playoffs in your career, I just didn't think he was going to be able to pull that game out of his ass. And he did. Yeah. And he did it from fucking puck drop. Because I'll transition that right into the first period. How many times have you guys heard me say this on the live? You need professional first periods on the road in the playoffs. And the Leafs have been playing professionally this whole series just about.
Yeah.
They come out game 5 at home. They want it bad, and they're peppering the Sens. The shots were 12-4 or 12-4 all over them. And Ullmark was a wall, dude. A brick wall in the first period, completely set the tone. All you're doing as the Sens there is weather the first 10, weather the first 20 maybe, but certainly the first 10. And Ullmark was fucking unbelievable start to finish.
He was fantastic. And I do want to say too, this wasn't a holy shit. This was just an onslaught from the Leafs, nonstop, nothing else. And Ullmark stole you a game because the Sens boys are playing very
they
well. Brady getting a helper on that first goal. That's what you need from your captain, your best player. But I do want to give a little bit of love to Sanderson. This kid is showing every single bit of why he got that big contract. So many people said when he signed it, that's an overpay by the Sens. What the hell are they doing? The way this kid has been so calm in the D zone, and he's an offensive guy, but the way he's handling the crazy big boys on Toronto, and then the way he is breaking out the puck. That is such a huge factor. And we'll get into that in the King series. But you need, in the playoffs with a heavy forecheck, with talented offense on the other teams, you need collected defensemen who can corral the puck and get you a good breakup pass, not a little spoon out of the zone, not a cheap dump. He is calm with the puck, getting good tape-to-tape passes on the breakout, controlling the neutral zone incredibly well. And that was a huge factor in this game. Whenever there was a change of possession, transition play, the Sens stood up taller. No doubt about it. So Jake Sanderson has just been phenomenal in this series. He's showing why he is definitely, their guy, really, when it comes to drive an offense from the blue line. And this game was the first time for me that I've seen the Leafs rattled.
Okay.
I'm watching Austin Matthews seemingly gripping the stick way too tight. Few times where I'm like, you got to shoot the puck, pal. Yeah. He's trying to force a pass through sticks. It's not going. We saw that play with Marner, and this isn't shit talk, but we saw that play with Marner. Skates in front of the crease, and he fucking just does one of the best Olympic dives you've ever seen. Yeah. And then he's looking at no one's even near him, and he's looking for a trip on Ullmark.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you fucking high, buddy? What are you doing? So I think we are seeing And this is not shit talking the Leafs or their players, because it happens. It's happening in the Kings Oilers series. Fear sets in for these pros. It sets in. And here you are again. Now you're 1-13 in closeout games. Now you're headed back to Ottawa. Seems like they have all the momentum. And we've said the Senators have nothing to lose in this series, but they've found their game. It's 3-2 now, chance to force a game 7, and no one in the world wants a game 7 in Toronto. And we're seeing fans burning jerseys already.
Yeah.
It's 3-2.
Dude, the chat is already
3-2.
The chat's already reverse sweep incoming. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and it's easy to say that, right? It's easy to just be like, I called it, I knew it. And if it happens, Jesus Christ. But like Toronto, there's no reason to panic. You won the Atlantic. You're a great team. You can just lock down and play your game. But we get into that factor of, are you off your game because of the nerves, because of the history?
I don't think you can ignore that, dude. And there's a couple stats. Some we pulled, some in the chat here. Spencer, they're 0-30 on the power play during this 1-13 closeout game stretch. Mm-hmm. This one I found too. Matthews, Marner, and Nylander have literally never scored a power play goal in games 5 through 7 of the playoff series. Literally never. And I'm like,
not good. Not a good stat. Dude, not a good stat at all.
When you get that, actually, let's talk about this on the way there. The Ridley Gregg penalty in the third period is maybe one of the most bonker things I've ever watched in a hockey game live, from a guy specifically who has been undisciplined and taking penalties.
Yeah.
Dude loses his stick, and then
it was crazy. Man.
It was.
I called him out on Twitter, and we didn't. I never like calling players out. We're pussies. We're a players podcast, but he's been a little all over the place all series. It's almost like the emotions are too high. And that play happened, Chris, and he lost his stick and was like twisting and turning around and was like, what the fuck is going on? And then he just tackled Marner. Like literally just tackled him. And then the camera cuts to the Ottawa bench, and the guys on his team were straight up going, what are you doing, bro? Like they were shaking their head in disbelief.
Legit, like that is not an exaggeration. Actual teammates were shaking their head like this cannot be happening. And when he lost his stick, I saw him go to get it. And then I saw him look at Marner, and I was like, actually smart play. Go put a body on him just so you can slow up the play. And then he just form tackle, like every ref in the rink,
the whole, like, everyone on the ice.
What are you doing, dude? This is a 1-goal game. And if you lose, you're fucking eliminated in the third period. So they go short here. And I'm like, oh, you're fucked, dude. This is insane. And I feel bad for him, honestly, in that moment. I was like, this is a nightmare. And then, dude, absolute pizza for Matthews. Just
horrendous.
Awful turnover. And then bang, 2-on-1. And I think it was maybe Willie who someone didn't come back that hard, whatever. Like Cousins breaks away from it, and it's been the back of your net. And you're like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Clutch goal from Cousins. And that was the game. And everyone knew it too. It's like there's tons of time left, but everyone knew it. That was the game. It was over. We forced game 6. And we're now in this place where, do you feel, I said a second ago, the Sens have nothing to lose.
Correct.
Do you wonder if there's a little bit of pressure on them now, because that was an emphatic win, right? That was game 1 for Toronto, where they won 6-2. Looked like tons of inexperience was on the ice for Ottawa. But now you're playing like this team that got a playoff spot in the second half of the season. You've got Toronto on the ropes. All that fear and history is set in. Do you almost feel like this is like Ottawa, this is your game to lose? Like you have to win game 6 at home.
Yes. Because, and I'll piggyback one more on the run you just were on. This is the team that earned the playoff spot. This is the team that was 3-0 against the Leafs in the regular season. You have that confidence again, like we can beat this Toronto team. You're going to have the home crowd behind you. And you just think to yourself, if we get to game 7, like our job is done here. They're going to be reeling in all this shit.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up this one fact to you. Remember last year when the Oilers came back and they made it to game 7?
Yep.
The whole hockey world looked up. How many times has this happened? How many times has a team gotten the first 3 of the reverse sweep? And it's more than you think. It was actually like 15 times or something. But like 14 of those times, the original team just wins game 7.
Yeah.
Which is what happened in the Cup Finals.
Yeah.
So I think normally, if you're a Toronto fan, you're going, Christ, well, even if we horrifically lose game 6 in Ottawa, we get to come back home and we're the better team for game 7. But dude, because you're the Leafs and because of the history, I think that positive stat goes out the door for you, because you're like, I cannot imagine. Those guys won't sleep that night, dude. They literally will not sleep the night before Game 7.
Gillette just said in the chat, Sens 27-11-3 at home this season. That's what you want. You got a good home record. You like playing at home. Dude, obviously you got that huge overtime win in Game 4 at home. This is where you want to be with this opportunity, not to close out, but to force it to Game 7. Because I think in this series, if you force a Game 7, it doesn't matter what ice you're on, because the nerves are just going to be through the fucking
for everybody, by the way. Yep.
But no, I disagree, dude. Because
they'll be nervous. The Sens will be nervous. It's Game 7.
I disagree completely. They won't be nervous. There will be nerves. There'll be, energy. But what are you fucking nervous about?
Yep.
Like you took the Leafs to Game 7 after being down 3-0 and then you lose. Like, no one's upset. I mean, you're upset because you're like, fuck, that would have been sick. But you're not like, damn, this just set our team back. What are you talking about? They're not nervous at all. I'd be frothing at the mouth. I would have the fucking hardest cock in the absolute fucking province going into that game, knowing that you could possibly destroy a franchise. Like, there's no nerves. But I do think Game 6, you're definitely entering the territory of like, this is the one game this series where I'm like, you got to win. Like,
it's on Ottawa.
Like, you have a chance. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You have a chance to do something unbelievable.
Because everybody's saying that, including us. We're like, everybody's kind of already at Game 7. Do you know what I'm saying? We're all like, Ottawa took it back home. They've done it now. And Game 7 is going to be fucking insane.
And that's a mistake.
Yep.
That's a mistake from Ottawa.
Yep.
But Toronto, if they're already mentally in Game 7, I'm like, I don't blame you, dude. Like, figure out how to go back home and take care of business. But Ottawa, you cannot look past this game just thinking you're going to get to Game 7. Like, you got to lock in and play the hardest game you have.
Because you lost at home already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it was an OT game, so it's close, obviously. But this is not a joke.
I think Ullmark needs to keep playing well, but there's a bit of me that's like, Ullmark did his job. Ullmark did his job getting this game. And this one, I'm like, in terms of 12-4 shots in the first period in favor of Toronto, this game needs to be 15-2 shots Ottawa. Like, your boys, your four, Tim Stutzler, where are you?
Yep.
Bathman had a few tap-in opportunities. They didn't go. He's got to be hungry for some. You need your talented forwards to be like, Oli, we got you in this one.
Yeah.
We're going to build a lead early in the first period and make them fucking sweat. That needs to be the mentality in this game.
He definitely gave you your steal that you needed.
Yeah.
So I'm not asking him to do that again, even though it would be nice if you're Ottawa. But he can't play poorly either. Like, I don't think they can survive a poor Ullmark showing where they're like, don't worry, bro, we'll just outscore the Leafs 5-4. We're good. We got you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's allowed anymore either at this stage. Like, I'm talking 2 goals, 3 maybe, but like, even that is sketchy to me. So if you're Ullmark, you got to stay pretty locked in. Where are you on the Leafs? There's a lot of chat in the comments in the chat about how the Leafs should feel. Someone even said like the cup run is off now that you're doing this poorly in the first round. Does this change? Does this mini melt change how we've all been talking about the Leafs this whole playoff so far?
No, I mean, to me, like, would it have been great to sweep? Yes, because I feel like that would have silenced so many haters. But people forget, dude, like the Bruins, when they won the cup, they went down 0-2 to Montreal in the first round, like one of their big boogeymen. And you figure it out. Sometimes you need adversity like this where it makes people just go, Jesus Christ, are we the same chokers we've always been? Yep. And then you figure it out and you get through it. So no, I don't think Toronto fans should be totally panicked. I think you should be nervous because you're a Toronto fan. And here we are again. But also, don't be those Toronto fans that are burning fucking jerseys already. Like, what are you're leading the series and you're burning Mitch Marner jerseys in the streets. Calm down. So I don't think it changes any of the confidence that you had, but you are obviously now pissing your pants a little bit, and that's okay.
Dude,
peeing your pants is the coolest.
Yeah,
it's fine.
This came up during 4 Nations for us, but a lot of people saying like, if this goes 7, this is Jack. If this goes 7, I seriously don't want Matthews wearing the C. Give the C back to Tavares. He's taking all the hits, blocking shots, doing everything.
Jesus Christ, guys, calm down.
It kills me, dude. It kills me as a Johnny Toe Drags lover.
Yeah,
it kills me. The amount of hate that Leafs Nation was giving Toe Drags the last couple years to then he gets to the point that he gets stripped of the captaincy of his hometown team. And then now we love him, dude. Now he's the leader in the room. Now he's out there making sacrifices, which he's always been doing, dude. Like, holy fuck.
You don't deserve him. Like Toronto, the city, the fans, I love you. You don't deserve this guy. Like you can't have it both ways.
He's the man. So of course he's blocking shots. Of course he's taking hits. You know, it actually was a bad look though. And not that it was his fault. It was actually Matthew's fault. But right before the power play, after the Ridley Gregg tackle job, it cut to Tavares on the bench. Because they're down 1, dude. Third period, power play at home, close the series. Cuts to Tavares on the bench. No audio, obviously, but I'm looking at him, and he's looking up and down at the guys on the peeper, and he goes, "Come on, boys, right now!" Like you just read his lips so easily, and I was like, "This is the moment." And then they go immediate shorty. I was like, "Ah, damn,
Devastating."
Yeah, I hate to see it, dude. You hate to see it.
Moving on to the biggest melt job of the Stanley Cup playoffs so far, we've got Kings Oilers. Kings Oilers. We have a change in the lead in the series. Kings started up 2-0, and the Edmonton Oilers have won 3 straight games, and they beat the dominant at-home LA Kings with a shit stomping, in my opinion.
Shit stomping.
And holy shit. Before we get into anything Kings related, this was a dominant performance by the Oilers. I mean, just the most stick taps you could possibly give to the Edmonton Oilers team coming out and doing what they did, 19 shots in the first period. Because there's something to be said, you know, both games, despite that leaky 2 minutes where it got to 5-5 in game 1, the Kings beat the wheels off the Oilers in games 1 and 2. They know what was going to be happening in LA. They know what has happened in the past, and they came out and said, fuck it, don't care, 19 shots. Kemper's been good. They were like pepper.
Yeah.
Such an incredible performance from the Oilers.
Dan, I couldn't agree with you more. 0-2 in the regular season there, 0-2 in the playoffs there. You're like, and the Kings home record, right? You know, you're walking into a barn where this team barely loses and you haven't beat them in 4 tries. And then regardless of the final result, dude, the first period they engineered, we weren't at the game. I had people texting me like the air has been sucked out of crypto. Dude, crypto went bankrupt. All your Bitcoin gone.
Bitcoin,
no money.
Bitcoin
dude.
in the toilet.
In the toilet.
In the absolute shitter.
So that was that. Do you want to talk professional first playoff periods? Holy fuck. Yeah. The Oilers were there to rock right from the beginning. And dude, it's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable because if you're the Kings and you have your home record and you've lost the last 2 games the way you did, I'm not even saying you need to be winning after 1. I'm not even saying you obviously want to win that game. I'm not even saying you have to win that game. What I am saying is you cannot come out and get steamrolled in the first period like that.
Steamrolled to the highest degree. And it's funny because there wasn't even an Oilers goal in that first period. But you just knew that the energy was different. And ultimately, this is where I think you have to give it up to the Oilers. They are, in my opinion, and I think most educated hockey people's opinion, on paper, they are not as good as this Kings team. They're not as deep, certainly.
Yes.
The Kings have the advantage in net, but the fact of the matter is this: the Oilers don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about narratives. They don't give a fuck about momentum. They come out and they put their fucking chips on the table every single game and go, say whatever you want. We're going to bust our ass and we're going to play hard.
Yep.
And they did that in this game much, much better than the Kings. And if you're fucking Darcy Kemper, dude, and you have the performance that you have in game 4, and the Kings can't get that win for you, and then you come into this game and you're like, hey, boys, we're back at home. Can you fucking help me out here?
Yep.
And then you put up 4 shots in the first period. If I were Kemper, I'd be losing my fucking mind at this team. And end of the day, dude, you have a game here. You don't have the big boys doing it. You don't have Connor scoring. You don't have Leon scoring. And they still get the win. You get a big Kane goal in response to the power play goal for the Kings, which was big. Kings get a power play and they score. That was crippling for you in game 4, going 0 for 3 on the power play. And then they just don't care. They come right back and score. They're all over them. Shitstorm in front of the net. Pucks all over the place. After the penalty expires, puck gets on Kane's stick and he buries it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the Janmark goal. And it's just like, dude, they are all fucking over this team, not giving a shit what's going on. And that, dude, is why this team, I know it's a much different roster to an extent, but that's why this team came back being down 0-3 in the Stanley Cup final against Florida.
Yeah.
They don't fucking care. They just battle tooth and nail. This is all they have. And they're like, we're never going to fucking die. We will never roll over and die.
Yep.
So if and when this is over in 6 or over in 7, but I think all momentum and all logic points towards the Oilers are winning this series. It's going to take a miracle, complete turnaround performance from the Kings to take this to 7 and then not let alone win. But dude, the lesson that teams need to hear is when this Oilers team looks like they're dead, they are so alive. They are very much alive.
Yeah.
Again, I will say. And it's so fucking impressive. It's so awesome.
Okay, Dan, someone in the chat, William, I want to address because he's had multiple comments because it's leading into something we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
But actually now, William, I feel like you just flip-flop so hard. So I'm going to try to read these in order. William says, that is wild to say that the Kings have better depth. And I was about to be like, are you insane? And then he said, who are the depth pieces you're talking about? I'm about to tell you. Then he says, LA is playing 13 players. That's why they're losing. Excellent point. That is what we want to talk about.
We're about to get into. We haven't talked about
But then he said, William said, Kings depth is their top 9. Kings don't have anything other than depth. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So William,
you're out of control.
I don't know what
you're out of
I
control.
don't know what you're saying, but William, a third line of Fogle, Phil Deneau, and Trevor Moore is why we say the Kings have depth.
It's better than the Oilers' second
line of Kane, a underperforming RNH, and an underperforming Zach Hyman. So the Kings do have depth, but you bring up an excellent question as to why are they only rolling, it appears, 3 lines and 2 sets of D at times.
Dude, this is like, I don't want to turn this into a Jim Hiller trash talk session, but I don't think we would be doing our job if we don't call out the fact that there have been, in my opinion, since game 3, really insane and poor coaching decisions from Hiller.
Yep.
I don't know what is going on with the Kings. I don't know what is going on with the coaching staff, but we have seen now, you play 2 games at home. You win emphatically in game 2. Frankly, you win emphatically in game 1, save for that stupid hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
Game 3, you come into Edmonton and you totally change up the roster. You put Trevor Lewis back into the lineup. You make some decisions. Jordan Spence gets scratched in a game. And you're just, Kings fans, pre-puck drop, are going, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And then you lose, and you lose, and you lose. And a very consistent issue in games 3, 4, and 5 have been the complete unwillingness to roll 4 lines. And I think that you saw it halfway through game 4. The Kings' top 9, particularly top 6, is absolutely gassed.
Yep.
And a lot of people are being like, well, dude, the Oilers are only rolling 2 lines. I don't think that's entirely true. But ultimately, dude, when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, you can do that.
That is your luxury.
And I'm here to tell you that the reason you did well in games 1 and 2 is because the Kings were playing all 4 lines. And they were playing short shifts, grinding people down, keeping it quick, making sure you don't get exhausted, and keeping constant fresh pressure on the stars on this team. Now you're not doing that. You look tired. All of a sudden, your scoring looks like it's drying up. I wonder fucking why.
Yep.
I wonder fucking why.
Dude, it's so hard to it's easy to say this. It's hard to execute. It's an NHL game, and there are great players on both sides of the ice. But you need to dictate the play if you're this Kings team, and it needs to be going forward. The reason they're not getting any shots, especially in the first period before they're tired, right, is because they don't have the fucking puck. Like, literally, they are getting it rammed down their throat at all times. And then you try to start building on the rush, and then you lose it, and you turn it over, and it's these lazy breakouts, dude. How much were we talking about that last night? It's lazy breakouts. It's lazy puck control. Sometimes it's like, dude, get it out of the zone, get the line, get it behind them. Their defense that we don't feel is too impressive, collecting pucks in the corner and immediately transitioning out. Get it behind them, bang bodies, and dictate the play in that direction, which, by the way, is way easier to do when you have the home crowd behind you, which you've now blown.
Yep.
So you are walking into an absolutely terrifying atmosphere in Edmonton with rabid fans who, dude, are so ready to fucking drink your tears and dance on your grave.
Oh my God.
Dude, after all the shit talk of the curses being broken, we're up 2-0, we're going to fucking sweep the Oilers. If the Oilers come back and win 4 straight and win in 6 again, like those fans, I mean, this is daddy talk. Like it's daddy talk, and like nothing will change that, frankly, dude. I want to shout out Declan in the chat, just said only 2 Oilers last night with under 10 minutes
It was Arvidsson and Podkolzin. And
Great pull.
That's a great pull, but that's a great pull, and it's just a great point at like they're playing all their guys. That's why they're beating the shit out of you. And dude, it's one of these things where it's like, yes, the Oilers are your daddy now, like big time. And you wonder, how much does this change the team? Like, this isn't last year when they lost, you lost to a better team.
Yes, agree.
We talked, the reason I picked the Kings in 7, and I said, I was like, probably every team's going to win it on home ice. And if the Kings lose on home ice, you're dead.
You're dead. Yep.
Here we are. So again, that wasn't me doubting the Oilers. It was me. I'm like, that's the other thing is like, I stand by everything I've said. I don't think anything about this series has showed that like the Oilers are way better than we thought. They're playing Pickard in net, and Pickard's playing great. But like, what did we say? Like, I don't know if you can trust Skinner. You literally can't.
Yeah.
You're now starting Pickard for the rest of playoffs, folks, just so you know. And it's like the Kings have lost this series. They have lost for themselves. That's not taking anything away from the Oilers. Like you said at the top of this segment, they played so well in that game. And the fact that they're getting support from guys like Janmark and guys like Kane, a healthy Kane has been a game changer, no doubt about it. But this is the type of loss that changes your franchise. This is the type of loss that gets your coach fired, your GM fired. It gets a lot of key players traded because you've now lost in the first round to the same team for 4 fucking years in a row. And in this year, you have 0 excuses for this loss. This changes things in a lot of ways.
And dude, a team, and say what you want about the playoff format, but it's not going anywhere. And neither is the players, the core of that team that you are running up against.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, it's not like reversed, by the way. Let's say this Kings team had been consistently beating the Oilers. If you're an Oilers fan, you're still pissed. You're still embarrassed, but you kind of go, well, you know, Dewey and Kopi probably leave soon. And then maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we'll get over the hump because of that. This is the reverse, dude. Like, you are going up against a team with megastars who are signing extensions and going to stay there forever to ruin your life forever. So you need to figure out a way to be better than them. And I was coming into the game being like, or into the series being like, it was always goaltending. That was the problem.
Yep.
They had a goalie that I don't believe in the playoffs. And he rammed it down my face last year and he took them to a game 7 and that was fucking awesome. Because he's a great dude. But the Kings didn't have an answer to that. This year, they bring in Kemper, who is a fucking Vezina finalist. Thank you very much. And is playing. I know a lot of goals going on. He's making monster saves. How many fucking times, Dan, last night did an Oiler player get nudity in front of the net for an immediate pass out, slam one far post, and Kemper's flashing legs out at it all night? He's doing everything you need him to do. You have the advantage. They are on their backup goalie. And you have your Vezina goalie playing great. You can't lose those games, dude. It's that simple.
Yeah, you simply cannot. I mean, we saw over halfway through the third period, the Oilers finally matched the shot total of the Oilers in the first period.
Dude, the Kings matched.
The Kings finally matched the Oilers shot total in the first period. And that right there is a, you know, to have the defense of the coaches here and there. Ultimately, it does come down to the players on the ice sometimes. And I think the boys in that locker room would be one of the first to admit, yeah, they did not get it done last night. And something that was interesting going into that game was the question of, are these guys going to come out in this game nervous or are they going to come out pissed? Because that was a big question. Those 2 games in Edmonton, if you're a Kings player, if you're a Kings fan, you're like, what the fuck happened, dude? What the fuck happened? And there's definitely a world where that game 5 could have happened and you could have gone, dude, fuck what just happened. We are better. We've been assholes. There've been some bad coaching decisions. We're going to get back to our game and we're going to beat the wheels off this team. I know that there's a lot of people in that organization who felt that way.
Yeah.
So then to come out like that, terrifying. It's terrifying because now Oilers are in the driver's seat in the biggest way possible, as they deserve, because like I said, for the last 3 games, the Oilers have fucking slapped everyone in the mouth. They have said, we don't give a shit what people are saying, and they come out and they busted their ass. So the Kings have to completely flip every single narrative that's going on right now in Rogers Place, which they have not won.
Dude, and it's brutal because you were talking about Sens not really feeling the pressure if it goes to 7, which I don't totally agree with, but I see your point. The Oilers, unfortunately, if you're a Kings fan, can lose game 6 and still not be that nervous. Like they're like, I'll go back to LA and beat them, whatever. And the Kings are tasked with going into Rogers, a place they haven't won yet in this playoffs, with the weight of the fucking world on their shoulders. And that sucks. I want to address this, Dan. Jeremy in the chat has said this a couple times. He says, he just directed it to me, but Chris, we need to talk about Kopi having 0 playoff series wins since taking the C. Listen, that's a bad stat.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. But Kopi is to even still such a massively underrated player. And he's never been super fast. And I think this matchup is hard when it's such a fast team that he's going against, especially down the middle. Like some of these guys, Draisaitl's just as big as strong as him. Connor's the fastest dude in the league. But Kopi is a rock for this team in a way that it's even hard to put into words. Like what he does stirring the drink for this team is unbelievable. There have been much bigger issues in LA, in my opinion, than the play of Anze Kopitar and his captaincy that is not getting them out of the first round.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those tough things where it's like, we all know how much people respect Kopi around the league on that team. There's no issue of leadership on this team. That's just one of those really shit facts. It's like, well, that is a fact and this sucks. But I don't think it's a problem as far as the team. But I will say this, dude, for a older guy, it's tough to ask this, but knowing the Hall of Fame caliber player that he is, you do want a big game.
Need a little more. Yeah.
Like I need more from Kopi if you're a Kings fan. And if you're in that locker room, frankly, I mean, he was for such a long stretch of the season before Juice really started popping off, who is a future superstar for the record. People ask, like, is there star power on the Kings? It's Adrian Kempe. And that is just a fact. But he was one of your best players all season long. And I know it's a long season. I know we're in the postseason now, but like, I might be here to call it right now as we move on from this series. If they want to extend this to game 7, Kopi has to have a big game.
Dude, yeah, I'm okay with that. And Dan, Pickard.
Yep.
He comes in the playoffs last year. I'm not going to count that one because 16 minutes. He plays 2 full games against Vancouver, 905, 914. And the 914 was a loss, but played okay. Comes in this year, first full game, 8-5-7 in a win, but gets kind of lit up. And then the next 2 games, 9-2-7, 9-5-5 last night. We've seen in the past backup goalies come in playoff series and just get super hot and completely turn things around for the team. This is not unprecedented. Sometimes it's just someone else seeing the puck better. So I'm not saying the Kings, this is a travesty, but if you chase Skinner and get Pickard,
you have to win.
I was trying to hold that so hard. You have to win. Yeah. You have to win the series. And that's no disrespect to anybody, but this one's going to hurt.
Yeah. I do want to just say, credit to me for dealing with the fact that this dumb piece of shit got himself sick. And now I have to stand next to him and he's going to get me sick. So
I'm actually going to switch.
Thanks a lot, dude. Thanks a lot. Moving on to the last series of last night, Wild Knights. What in the actual frick is going on? Check on your Minnesota Wild fans,
dude,
because I can't believe what is going on.
Okay, I want to say a couple things to start the game, and then I just want to get to like the meat of this. To start the game, Jack Eichel looked reborn to the point that I feel like a lot of people have speculating, including us, that he might be hurt, and I don't know what injury can be hindering you that badly and then just be gone the next day. Maybe he was sick, talking about sick. Like maybe he was literally sick and then just woke up one day and was like, I actually feel way better.
Yeah.
But he does the Nate Gallup thing, and he's got the fucking ass and the stride. And he was moving last night. Like I was like, oh, it was like I hadn't seen him in a month. I was like, oh, there's Jack. That's crazy.
He's the best skater in the NHL, in my opinion, which is insane when Connor McDavid exists. But Connor is he's a mutant.
He's just moving so fast.
Yeah. And like Jack is poetry when he skates.
Jack takes 3 strides and he's behind. He's behind one net and then he's behind the other net. Yeah. I'm like, that's not humanly possible.
Unbelievable.
So that if you're a Vegas fan, you're like, oh, okay, Jack looks great, has a great assist on the shorty, and then the Wild tie it on a Kirill goal. And I do want to say this about Kirill, dude. That dude, and this is going to sound like a chirp, but it's a compliment.
Yeah.
That dude has entered the pasta realm for me, where he literally just shoots anything he shoots just goes in.
Yeah.
Because it's either perfectly placed or it just like goes through the goalie or whatever. It doesn't matter. Every time there's a weak side pass, 1T from Krill, I'm like this will go in no matter what. Yeah. And then it does. It just goes in every time. And it's a credit to the goal scoring ability he has.
Yeah.
So he ties it up. But dude, I would say through 2 periods, that Vegas team, and I put a clown nose on, dude, to Minnesota. I could not apologize enough. Minnesota's been amazing, and I'm so happy for the city and the team. But that first 2 periods felt to me more like the matchup I expected. Where even though it was a close game, I was like, Vegas is a step above you. They're just better than you, and they're going to win.
Yeah.
Then, dude, the most bizarro world third period I maybe have ever watched in hockey history. I'm not exaggerating, dude. To start things off, Gus comes out of the fucking intermission and goes like this: I'm ill. I'm actually not well. Flowers going in.
Dude, you have to be literally shitting your pants to come out of that game. And I'm not, we've talked about this before. Diarrhea is a very real thing.
Kills people all the time. It's one of the great killers in the world.
But you better have had explosive diarrhea if you're coming out of that.
I'm trying to see if anything online yet about what was going on. But dude, because Gus was playing great, by the way. And he's been great. He's been great all series. And he's not feeling quite well, dude. No. So he needs to leave. And Flower comes in. And now, Dan, I'm in a fucking pretzel of emotions because Flower's retiring whenever they lose. Okay. And his career has been absolutely incredible. And him coming in a relief performance and going on a run in the playoffs, Chris, would be so magical. I don't even know how to think, dude. It would be a Disney movie before the playoffs was over. So him coming in, I was like, dude, I need this for him. Like, I can't have him play horribly.
I know.
Right? Dude, so the fucking period starts and the Wild get one early in like the first 2 minutes. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Jesus Christ. I thought Vegas was playing better. Then Vegas doesn't shoot for 12 minutes.
They literally didn't shoot the puck, Chris.
With a fucking cold goalie who's 85 years old and hasn't played in a month.
They didn't shoot the puck.
Like, dude, what is... We talk about like, oh my God, Ottawa only had 4 shots in the first period. Vegas didn't shoot in a period in a game 5 at home that you have to win with a goalie who hasn't played in forever. You didn't shoot the puck. I was losing my mind. And then lost in the madness of Vegas not shooting is that the Wild took their last shot with like 17 minutes left in the third and didn't shoot again for the rest of the fucking game.
Dude, the shots in the third period were 5-3 in favor of Minnesota. What is happening? Dude, what is going on in a playoff hockey game in the third period where you have both teams who have 5 or less shots? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we're just living in the neutral zone, whizzing pucks past the net, dude.
Like, we have to have this. So, dude, then, bro, I want to go right to the Hartman goal. So, in that flurry before the goal, Vegas is all over them because they start shooting finally. Like, literally with 8 minutes left, they start shooting. And they're like, okay, here we go. And now it's a fucking shooting gallery. It is literally like shot, save, rebound, kick to the point, hammer 1T, backdoor, save, rebound, scrum. And I'm like, oh my God, this is an obvious goal.
Yeah.
Then the puck kicks out to the Wild. And Hartman's got it. I forget who that was. It was maybe Barbie, but like someone, I know these guys are gas, but another kind of lazy back check where I'm like, take the extra stride. He's trying to like pitchfork him, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, Hartman takes it hard to the net. No one slides over. A lot of pointing. You know, when you see the 2-on-2s, everyone's, and I'm like, take the guy.
Yeah, fucking someone go get him.
So he goes hard to the net. Yeah.
No.
He goes hard to the net, drives it in, and then it just goes in. Right? Like a lot of chaos happens. It goes in the net. Immediately, Hill's doing this. No one can see me. I can't Panarin myself.
You can't?
My jeans are too tight. Immediately, he's doing the kicking motion. And usually the goalie knows. Usually when the goalie's jumping up, waving, I'm like, something happened.
You think so? I think it's like 50. Sometimes goalies are losing their mind. And I'm like, that was just a clean goal.
So we watched it a couple times. And I actually think, I don't remember where you landed, but I went, that was a kick. Oh, that's actually not a kick. Oh, that was a kick. That's not a kick. And then on the last replay they showed, I was like, oh, that actually is a kick.
Yeah, they got me on the last replay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think that's a kick. Like, to me, it was like, you know, he's just moving his body and it hits. And I do want to shout out Jake in the chat. He said, I really don't like the fact that the last goal gets reviewed for a kick in. Then they also get a challenge for offsides. So we'll discuss
Yep.
that, Jake. But to me, it's like you're moving your body. You're trying to get in front of the net. A puck comes up and you're adjusting and it goes off his knee or whatever and goes in. I was like, I don't think that was a kicking motion. But then the straight on Hartman angle, it really does look like he sees it and he's like, oh.
And to be clear, I don't know what you think. I don't think he is intending to go, I'm going to knee this into the net. I think he's just trying to go, there's the puck, like get it up to something, and then it just goes in. So
yeah, and I think we need to be a little stricter on that in the NHL.
Me too.
I really do. Like
I don't even like the stop thing when people are like, I'm just stopping, and it go like clearly banks it off your skate, and they're like, that wasn't a kicking motion. And I'm like,
yeah.
You don't think he did that on purpose?
To me, I do think we need to get to a place where we're like, dude, if you see a puck, even if it's just a natural reaction, and you move your body in the direction of that puck and it hits your body and goes in the net, that can't be a goal.
Because maybe someone can look this up in the chat, because Dan said this to me last night and I don't know if he's right. What can the puck go in off of? Is it literally nothing?
It can go in off anything as long as there's not a motion.
With emotion. Yeah. Obviously, we've seen someone head it, and like I know you can't like arm it into the goal, but if you just like hip bump, bump, hip bump. You did that and it went in.
No goal.
That would be no goal.
I think
that's
what's
interesting
funny
to me.
We always hear kicking motion. What about a hip thrust motion?
Yeah.
What if the puck pops up and I just hump that in?
Yeah.
I think the ref would have to go no goal. The player humped it into the net.
Yeah. Say that out loud, Wes.
I want to hear it.
So yeah, that is rattling to me. But assuming you are right about that and that is true, then I think there's a little leg there, dude. There's a little leg motion. I'm actually surprised they didn't overturn that in real time.
I want to point out that the chat right now is going crazy. The fact that you are slowly dying on this stream, like you're just getting sicker.
I'm battling. Like I fucking haven't slept in 2 weeks, dude. Like Jesus Christ.
It's fantastic. I do want to talk was it Jake? Jake, and in the chat. Jake, it is tough when something like that happens where it's like, oh, we got to check this out to see if that was a kicking motion. And then the coaches get to be like this. Oh, actually, that was offsides. I don't think the offside call was because of the kicking motion. There are people on that bench in the organization up in the press box whose job it is to be keeping track of that. So I think that was that they were keeping tabs on that regardless. But I do want to say this. There were a lot of people, Dr. Locks, dude, he was just in here a second ago. He was watching that game, saw the Wild scored, and then he fucking left. He turned the game off. He was like, oh, that's it. Wild win. And then next thing you know, it's overtime. It sucks when it looks like you got a goal and it gets called back. But I do think that we can just say this. It was offside.
Yep.
It was offside. I hate the offside challenge. It's such a bummer. We always talk about there's offside on every play, but at the same time, if I were a fan of a team and they lost a game when there was a clear offside, I'd be pissed.
Yes.
So that's one of those ones that's like, yeah, it's a little sketchy that there was a review and then another review, but I'm here to tell you that even if there wasn't a kicking motion on there, I'm sure there was someone on the Vegas coaching staff that was looking at that
already knew, right?
Was going to challenge it regardless.
Because actually, if you watch Cassidy's reaction, he was kind of being like, he wasn't freaking out in a way that I thought he was going to be, because I'm like, wow, what a nightmare loss. And because, dude, that was so against the run of play. You can see Hartman Selly where he's like, he's doing the dance because he's like, we haven't shot the puck in 18 minutes and I'm going to steal this game right now that I kicked in potentially. Also want to go back to this. I got to find it. Tyler found this Flower quote. I knew Gus wasn't feeling great before the game. He battled through the first 2 periods. I talked when he came off after the second. He said that was it. So at least there was like a little heads up that he was like, I'm not well.
Not feeling
Cassidy feels like he knew. I'm so spot on with you on the offside, but I feel extreme sympathy for the Wild players and fans, because holy fuck.
Oh man. And you know, we've talked about it. The Wild they don't have the best record in games 5 and 6. And here you are, this is one that you don't love, but you're going back to the X, and that's huge. So as we close out here, CP, I can't believe with how this series felt like it was going after 3 games. I can't believe we're here with Vegas with a 3-2 lead.
I think that I picked Vegas to win this game because I was like, I just think they'll be better at home, which they were until, dude, the third period. That's the craziest, weirdest third period I have ever watched in a hockey game. I was riveted. I was literally trying to go back to the Canes overtime because I was more excited, or I was like, I want to see the overtime goal. But I was like, I literally can't pull my eyes away from this Vegas Wild third period. I think Vegas feels good being up. I think Minnesota showed the same fight that they've been showing, though.
I agree. I'm not sweating at all if I'm Minnesota. But so that as we close out here, we're hitting our hour mark. we've got Canes have moved on.
Yep.
We made our picks pre playoffs, but Sens, Leafs, Kings, Oilers, Wild, Knights. We've got a game 6 coming up for all of them. What do you got in the next game and then in the series?
In these series?
Yeah.
I think
Sens, Leafs.
I actually think Ottawa wins game 6, which I cannot believe I'm saying. But maybe I even had Leafs in 7. I certainly didn't think it was going to go this way, but yeah. I can't believe that could go 7. And I think you're going to get a much better game from Toronto than most people think.
Yeah.
Because they know they can't go 7. But I think Ottawa pushes it to the brink.
Yeah. I think Ottawa gets this game, and I do think Leafs are going to take care of it in 7. But I think Ottawa wins game 6. All right. Kings, Oilers headed back to Rogers.
Oh my God, dude. I'm picking the Kings, and I'm an idiot, and I'm a sucker. And I barely have much more analysis than that because that's going to be a very, very, very hard win. But I just think they're embarrassed. I think they're embarrassed after last night.
Yeah, I love that. I picked Kings in 7 at the beginning of the series. I stand by every bit of analysis I gave, and I'm here to say that I think I was right. But and this is not Oilers fans. Don't come to kill me. I'm not flip-flopping here. I just reading the tea leaves. I think the Oilers finish this out. I think they win in 6, just based on the way that these Oilers boys are playing, the way that they have responded and shown so much grit. I don't see them losing on home ice. I hate to say it, but
okay.
tough.
And then what's the next one?
Vegas
Wild. I think that's going 7 too.
Me too.
Yeah,
I think
massive credit to the
6.
Wild. I hope Gus is okay. Whatever he's dealing with,
I
hope he can play.
But I mean, what a backup in Flower if that's what
God, I know, dude.
Yeah.
Before we go, Mac says, before you guys go, can you touch on the Habs for tonight? Mac, first of all, listen to the pod tomorrow and you'll get actual analysis. But tonight, prediction, you think it's over?
I do.
Unfortunately,
I do think
yes.
it's over. I think people are healthy enough on Washington. Yeah, I just think this one is there. So, they're at home.
I think probably correct. Yeah. Is Montembeault playing? No one knows.
I don't know, and I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. I think it goes Caps.
Yeah.
But Montreal, amazing performance, amazing run. Even if you lose, you got nothing to be sad about.
Been phenomenal. All right, that is it for this Puck Line News brought to you by Empty Netters, brought to you by BetMGM.
Yeah. Both.
Yeah. Amazing stuff, guys. We will tune in on the IG. If you aren't subscribed to the YouTube, I know a lot of you aren't. Make a frickin' profile and subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We're going to be talking about all these games tonight. We're going to be recording tonight to make sure you have an episode of the podcast bright and early tomorrow. We love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Skate hard.